There are few times in my life I'm at a loss of words. But suddenly he appeared. He's a big man, giant of a man. And before I can utter a word to greet him, he says, "Hey man," and he embraces me.
President Nelson Mandela, a man of many stories, far too many to capture in one sitting. But the one we're going to laser focus on is his encounters with Mr. Bawa Jane.
And remember, we always address him as Madiba. If you go to South Africa and you see the common person, everyone says Madiba, like father. That's the father. So Madiba was one of those phenomenal human beings, larger than life.
So sit back, relax, and listen for what Bawa has shared with President Mandela firsthand. Bawa has invited us into his home to have one-on-one conversations regarding the encounters. An exclusive series powered by Elite Advisement Group. Bawa Jane speaks exclusively with Elite.
And if I were to reflect back and see, who do you feel most impacted by? Who made the biggest impression on you? And without a hesitation, I'll say it was President Mandela. Before I go to my personal meeting, I take you back to this giant of a man in solitary confinement, all kinds of torture, 27 years at Robben Island. Remember, before that, he was a militant commander for the liberation of South Africa, ending apartheid. So he was imprisoned because of his movement. He was a leader and subjected to all kinds of torture. It's all been documented. I visited Robben Island. I've seen the room he was in, imprisoned, and what all had happened there. But when he comes out of prison, you know what are his first words that he used? Let's just put into perspective this man. He says, "As I was saying the other day," my God, gives me chills deep down. But what was even more profound was how he was transformed. Then he led a non-violent struggle against the apartheid, and he liberated South Africa.
The truth of the old African proverb that we are people through other people is tonight very evocatively being demonstrated by this gathering of so many people from all parts of the world.
Fast track. It is the end of 1999. I'm in Cape Town, the Parliament of the World's Religions. We were going to present President Mandela the Gandhi King Award for Nonviolence. I had a delegation with me of some very prominent people, Ella Gandhi, Stephen Rockefeller. And people might be thinking that we are sitting in some VIP room or something waiting for Madiba, President Mandela, to arrive. But no, my friends, he had chosen that we will meet under the bleachers. We were in a stadium which was 6,000 or 10,000 people, I forget. We were chatting amongst ourselves, and my mind is on, here is President Mandela coming. I'm thinking, how am I going to greet him? What am I going to say? Thoughts are racing. There are few times in my life I'm at a loss of words. But suddenly he appeared. He's a big man, giant of a man. And before I can utter a word to greet him, he says, "Hey man," and he embraces me. I could not speak a word. People of a certain stature, people like President Mandela, one of their unique attributes is they know how to put people at ease. That disarms you, makes you comfortable, makes you feel that you mean something to him, that is personal, and they look you straight in the eyes. And they are affectionate, they are genuine, you can feel that. That was one of the great lessons with Madiba.
Bawa, as we sit here and you share with me these moments that you've had an experience with such monumental people, it just really brings me to a place of hope.
And remember, every one of the leaders that I'm talking about, at the end, bottom down, they are also human beings. They also have challenges. They also have difficulties. It's how they deal with them, how they react. If you go back to Madiba's life, those 27 years when he was incarcerated and tortured, what became very clear to him, his singular mission and purpose in life. He had that realization on the path he wanted to pursue if he wanted to restore peace to South Africa, to have the Afrikaans be recognized, to the end of apartheid. He was very clear, very focused. So he held that as his inspiration and motivation throughout those 27 years. He did not allow the bitterness and the torture of those 27 years to in any way impact his life or his vision, his focus. Rather, it re-strengthened him, strengthened him even more.
As this world recovers from the pandemic, how do we get that rejuvenation in the now to be like, as we were, let's go, let's do this, let's win?
So if you look at the last 11 plus months, there are parts of the world where the pandemic is plaguing and taking human lives, almost entire countries. And they don't have the means. Some of them don't even have access to basic medicines, basic PPE, the vaccines. We know we are privileged to be in this country where all this sometimes we take for granted. But put into perspective, people, that there are people around the world who are not privileged to have this. So let's be grateful for the blessings that we have. My own conviction in this is that in every situation, you can learn something. So the past 11 months have taught us a lot to reflect back, to retool, to re-engage. So I think we have to now see, going forward, how we want the world to be. Remember, each one of us is a microcosm of the world. And if we want to see any changes in the world, then we must be that change. As Gandhi said, be the change you want to see. Rather than always trying to change others, blame others. This is what Madiba did too. He brought that change into his life. And he led by example. That was contagious. Even though people had differences, disagreements, but in the end, he conquered them through the power of his conviction. So people learn from this experience and see how you want to deal with each other. It's very clear that none of us can live in isolation. We need each other. We depend upon each other. We nurture each other. Let's cherish that, build on that. And even if you have differences, talk them out, sort them out, confront them. Don't keep it bottled in. In the end, have the spirit that you can agree to disagree, but you still love each other, embrace each other. And what is the unique gift of humanity is a wonderful mosaic that we've been blessed to have. Even amongst a family, each brother and sister is unique and different. And that's what makes it so special. Cherish that.
So throughout this journey, I hope each of you find the time to tap into yourself through your own faith and your own beliefs and find the courage to start anew. Next week's topic, we are bringing another president to the table that Mr. Bawa Jain has also had some experience with.
For more info, follow us at Elite Advisement Group or also I am Bawa Jain on all social media platforms.
Subscribe today for your exclusive invitation into the world of Bawa Jain.
Feel free to take a moment and check out the CRL.org.
Close to me was Stephen Rockefeller from the Rockefeller family. And Dr. Stephen Rockefeller had said, Bawa, please introduce me because he's been to my home for lunch. And then I said, Madiba, here is Dr. Stephen Rockefeller. He immediately turned, I have been to your house for lunch. And Stephen Rockefeller lost her words. So What is the lesson to learn from this? Remember, I have learned lessons from each one of these encounters. The great lesson in this was